All right, Cool for the Summer is the new single from Demi Lovato, and she joins us now here on Ralphie Tonight. Demi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Do you need a coffee? Do you need a tea? Do you need...
You know what? I'm actually pretty good.
You're good right now?
I have coffee on the way.
Because, all right, 2 of the last 3 times we've chatted, you've been a little, self-admittedly, like a little out of it. A little ragged. So that's why I just wanted to check first before we began to make sure that you were like aware.
When was the last time we talked?
The last time we talked was the last day of the U.S. tour.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. Backstage at Barclays Center. And then the other time is, I think, a time you wrote about in your book. That was the time that like you flew cross country, had to sleep in the back of an SUV, did Good Morning America, and then came here.
Okay. Yeah, I think I do remember that. I had blonde hair.
You did have blonde hair at that time as well.
I remember my life in sections as to what color my hair is.
Looks great now, by the way.
Thank you.
Did you just cut it or?
No, it's actually been short for like 6 months now.
Oh, okay.
6 or 7
But you grew it. It was shaved on this side, and now
Yeah,
it's not.
and
So that's what.
And I've grown that out. Yeah.
Awesome. So last time we chatted was in October, and I just want to get this out of the way real quick because right before we chatted, you had, I think, first met Iggy Azalea.
Yeah.
And I had joked like, oh, you know, is that like your new BFF? And you're like, oh, I want to collaborate with her. And then I just find out today that you're going to be a bridesmaid in her wedding? What?
I know, right? So I like started out as a huge fan, and like working out to her music got me like pumped up. She's such a G, and she's so cool and down to earth. Like, I don't like hanging out with people that are Hollywood. You know what I mean? Like, you don't see me hanging around too many people that are sceney or Hollywood or whatever. And she's just real as and like the first time we hung out, we went to Target and got gingerbread houses to make, and we made gingerbread houses, and like that's how like chill she is. So I love her to death, and we became closer friends, and we're neighbors, and so yeah, we've become close, and she's really, really rad. I'm so lucky to have somebody like her in the industry that's close to my age and not all about, you know, going out every single night, because I just don't really relate to that. There's nothing wrong with it, but she's like, oh my god, I found someone just as boring as me. I'm like, me too, let's eat pizza.
Amazing. Will she have a feature on this new album?
Yeah, that's the plan, definitely.
Cool. The other thing we spoke about back in October, you were kind of on the fence, it seemed, where you didn't know if you were going to release another single from the last album or release new music. Obviously, you're releasing new music. So what changed since October?
So since October, I was thinking about releasing my one last single from the album, but I realized that it was time for me to take the next step in my music, and I was so excited to record new music and to get in the studio that I just thought, you know what, I'll put out, it was going to be Nightingale. I'll put out Nightingale as a tribute to my fans, and I get to make a video for it, and it'll be awesome. But I wanted to leave them with that before I started the next chapter, and here I am, like however many months later, releasing new music, and I want people to hear it already. It's
interesting you say next chapter, because your fans are already calling this like a new era. Is that an accurate description of?
Sure.
Yeah,
for sure. It's definitely a new era. Like I have never been more confident in my music and in myself, and just ready to go. I've never wanted it this bad in my whole life, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make this album the biggest album I've ever released.
Back in October, was this whole Safe House Records thing in the works?
It was.
Then? It was, okay.
Yeah.
So you kind of knew that was coming too, and obviously it's kind of great that you can release new music now under this new umbrella.
Right. So we also didn't want to release a new single when we were trying to figure out the label situation. And so once we figured that out, then we were like, you know what, let's just go for new music.
Obviously, you'll release music under it. Nick Jonas, who you're partnered with along with Hollywood and Republic Records, so he'll release it as well. But are you going to be in the business now of being an A&R and trying to sign artists? Like, is that what you're aiming for here? Or?
Well, it's actually, Safe House is actually with Island and Hollywood. Okay. But I definitely do want to be a part of developing artists and getting people who I really respect as musicians, getting their music out there, even if they're already established artists. I think there's so many people that I look at, whether they have established careers or not, I look at and I think, wow, you deserve to be heard. And I just enjoyed that part of X Factor where I got to really be a part of people's careers. And over the past couple of years, Nick and I and Phil have been like, we should sign that person when we get a label. We should do this. We should do that. And now it's like, now it's really coming together. And for right now at the moment, we're definitely looking at people and for people, but we're really focused on, my new music and Nick's music. And that's pretty much what we're devoted to.
Yeah, I spoke with Kevin Jonas last week. He said Nick had some new stuff on the way. And of course, you have this new single now. Please tell me about Cool for the Summer.
Cool for the Summer. It's definitely a summer anthem. I really am excited for people to hear it. It's a new side of me. It's definitely sexier. It's more mature, and it's fun. That's the thing about my music that I feel like sometimes I lack is the fun element of it, because I get so deep with my story and blah 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 blah, and it's just like this. Like, I just want to have fun with my music. I want to talk about things, sex, drugs, rock and roll. Let's do it.
Wow, that's great. It really is a new era.
Yeah.
Who'd you work on for the song? Who'd you work on with it?
I worked with Max Martin and his team on the song, and we wrote it together probably just back in March. So it's all come together very quickly, and I couldn't be more excited. And
as far as the album, I mean, do you have an idea of what the track listing is going to look like and all that, or?
I don't have an idea of what the track listing is going to look like yet. I do have to put it together very soon, but we recorded so many songs that it's a matter of like summing it down, finishing up recording some of them, and just like trying to make sure that this is the best possible album that I could ever release.
Demi Lovato, we could do a whole 20-minute interview just on all the things you don't have going on in music with this new game and everything, and the skincare line and the hair extension infomercial. But
Secret Color, Devon by Demi is my skincare line. My game doesn't have a title yet, but we're working on it.
Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having me.